the Atharvaveda, hymn 10:8, 44 verses. Worship to loftiest Brahma, Lord of what hath been and what shall be, to him who rules the universe, and heavenly light is all his own. Upheld by a Skamba's power, these two, the heaven and the earth, stand fast. Skamba is all this world of life. Whatever breathes or shuts an eye. 3 generations have gone by and vanished, and others near have entered into sunlight. There stood on high he who metes out the region into green plants, hath passed the golden colored. One is the wheel, the tires are 12 in number, the naves are 3. What man hath understood it? 300 spokes have thereupon been hammered, and 60 pins set firmly in their places. Discern thou this, O Savitar. 6 are the twins, one singly born. They claim relationship in that among them which is born alone. Though manifest, it lies concealed in the vast place they call the old. Therein is firmly stationed all the moving, breathing universe. Up, eastward, downward in the west, it rolleth with countless elements, one-wheeled, single-bellied. With half it hath begotten all creation, where hath the other half become unnoticed. In front of these the 5-horsed car moves onward. Side horses, harnessed with the others, draw it. No one hath seen its hither course untravelled. The height sees it more near, the depth more distant. The bowl, with mouth inclined and bottom upward, holds, stored within it, every form of glory. Thereon together sit the 7 Rishis, who have become this mighty one's protectors. The verse employed at the opening of the conclusion, the verse employed in each and every portion, that by which sacrifice proceedeth onward, I ask thee, which is that of all the verses, that which hath the power of motion, that which flies or stands, or which breathes or breathes not, which existing shuts the eye, wearing all forms, that entity upholds the earth, and in its close consistence still is only one. The infinite to every side extended, the finite and the infinite around us. These twain, heaven's Lord, divides as he advances, knowing the past hereof and all the future. Within the womb Prajapata is moving. He, though unseen, is born in sundry places. He with 1/2 engendered all creation. What sign is there to tell us of the other? All men behold him with the eye, but with the mind they know not him. Holding aloft the water as a water-bearer in her jar, with the full vase he dwells afar, is left far off what time it fails, a mighty being in creation's center. To him the rulers of the realms bring tribute. That whence the sun arises, that whither he goes to take his rest, that verily I hold supreme, naught in the world surpasses it. Those who in recent times mid most are ancient, on all sides, great the sage who knows the Veda. One and all verily discuss Aditya, the second Agni, and the threefold Hamsa. This gold-hued Hamsa's wings, flying to heaven, sped o'er 1,000 days. Continued journey, supporting all the gods upon his bosom. He goes his way, beholding every creature. By truth he blazes up aloft by Brahman. He looks down below. He breathes obliquely with his breath. He on whom what is highest rests. The sage who knows the kindling sticks, whence by attrition wealth is drawn, will comprehend what is most high, will know the mighty Brahmana. Footless at first was he produced, footless he brought celestial light. Four-footed grown and meet for use, he seized each thing enjoyable. Useful will he become, and then will he consume great store of food. The man who humbly worshippeth the eternal and victorious God, him too they call eternal. He may become new again today. Day and night reproduce themselves, each from the form the other wears. 100,000 myriad, yea, 100,000,000 stores of wealth that passes count are laid in him. And this wealth they kill as he looks on, and now this God shines bright therefrom. One is yet finer than a hair, one is not even visible, and hence the deity who grasped with firmer hold is dear to me. This fair one is untouched by age, immortal in immortal's house. He for whom she was made lies low, and he who formed her hath grown old. Thou art a woman and a man, thou art a damsel and a boy. Grown old, thou totterest with a staff. Newborn, thou lookest every way. Either the sire or son of these, the eldest or youngest child. As soul God dwelling in the mind, firstborn, he is still in the womb. Forth from the foal he lifts the foal he sprinkles with the foal. Now also may we know the source from which the stream is sprinkled round. Brought forth in olden time, the everlasting high over all that is, was she, the ancient, the mighty goddess of the moon, refulgent with one eye, looketh round with one that winketh. Known by the name of guardian grace, the deity sits girt by right. The trees have taken from her hue, green garlanded their robe of green. When he is near, she leaves him not. She sees him not, though he is near. Behold the wisdom of the God. He hath not died. He grows not old. Voices that never were before emitted speak as fitteth them. Whether they go and speak, they say there is the mighty Brahmana. I ask thee where the waters flower by wondrous magic. Art was placed thereon. The gods and men are set as spokes, are fastened in the nave. Who gave command unto the wind that bloweth? Who ranged the 5 united heavenly regions? Who were the gods who cared not for oblations? Which of them brought the sacrificial waters? One God inhabiteth the earth we live on. Another hath encompassed air's mid-region. One, the supporter, takes the heaven and bears it. Some keeping watch guard all the quarters safely. The man who knows the drawn-out string on which these creatures all are strung, the man who knows the thread's thread, he may know the mighty Brahmana. I know the drawn-out string, the thread whereon these creatures all are strung. I know the thread's thread also, thus I know the mighty Brahmana. When Agna passed between the earth and heaven, devouring with his flame the all-consumer, where dwelt afar the spouses of one husband, or at that moment, where was Matarasvan, into the floods had Matarasvan entered. The deities had passed into the waters. There stood the mighty measurer of the region. Into the verdant plants went Pavamana. Over the Gayatri, above the immortal world, he strode away. Those who by song discovered song, or did the unborn see that thing? luller to rest, and gatherer up of treasures. Savitar, like a god whose laws are constant, hath stood like Indra in the war for riches. Men versed in sacred knowledge know that living being that abides in the nine-portaled lotus flower, enclosed with triple bands and bonds, desireless, firm, immortal, self-existent, contented with the essence, lacking nothing, free from the fear of death, is he who knoweth that soul courageous, youthful, undecaying. Well, we have a sort of monotheistic way of looking at it. If we translate deities and gods into, if it's devas, the shining ones, the unfallen angels, we perhaps get a different thing. In hymn 10.7, we have, which of his members is the seat of fervor, which is the base of ceremonial order, where in him standeth faith, where holy duty, where in what part of him is truth implanted, out of which member glows the light of Agni, from which proceeds the breath of Madarisvan, from which doth Chandra measure out his journey, traveling over Skamba's mighty body, which of his members is the earth's upholder, which gives the middle air a base to rest on, where in which member is the sky established, where hath the space above the sky its dwelling, wherewith yearning blazeth Agni upward, wherewith yearning bloweth Madarisvan, who out of many tell me is that Skamba, to whom with longing go the turning pathways, whither with go the half months, and accordant with the full year, the months in their procession, who out of many tell me is that Skamba, to whom go seasons, and the groups of seasons, wherewith yearning speed the two young damsels, accordant day and night, a different color, who out of many tell me is that Skamba, to whom the waters take their way with longing, who out of many tell me is that Skamba, on whom Prajapati set up and firmly established all the worlds. And so any particular thing, right? Because this hymn that we just went over, we end up with the idea smaller than the small, bigger than the big. All these rulers of the external world, well, they serve one ultimate. And the internal world, finer than that. But we're sort of almost unmentionable amongst all that too. But, in hymn 7, we had a greater importance bared on ourselves, because it's like, well, which part of this is going to do that? It's like, well, Islam teaches that charity or goodness or whatever is due on every part of you. So every sort of ability and such that you have.